The most advanced fighter jet in the world sits in Israeli hangars right now, paid for with American taxpayer dollars. But here's what few talk about. This wasn't supposed to happen. The F-35 Lightning, America's crown jewel of aviation technology, was never meant to give any nation such a decisive edge over its neighbors. Yet today, Israel operates 39 of these stealth aircraft, with 36 more on the way, making it the only Middle Eastern power with this capability. What started as a strategic partnership has become something far more complex, and the consequences are reshaping the military balance across the region. The story begins in 2010, when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Ehud Barak made a decision that would forever change the military landscape of the Middle East. On October 7, 2010, Israeli Ministry of Defense Director General Ehud Shoni signed a deal in New York City. 20 F-35 fighter jets for nearly $3 billion. But this wasn't just any aircraft purchase. It was America handing over its most classified aviation technology to a foreign nation. The F-35 Lightning II, America's crown jewel of aviation technology, was never meant to give any nation such a decisive edge over its neighbors. Yet today, Israel operates 39 of these stealth aircraft, with 36 more on the way, making it the only Middle Eastern power with this capability. What started as a strategic partnership has become something far more complex, and the consequences are reshaping the military balance across the region. The United States initially refused to allow Israel to integrate its own electronic warfare systems into the aircraft's built-in suite. This was about protecting the most sensitive military technology on Earth. However, Israel had other plans. Israeli engineers developed what they called a plug-and-play feature, essentially creating a workaround to allow their own electronics to be added to the main computer system. They also sought to fit their own external jamming pods and integrate Israeli-made weapon systems. After intense negotiations between Israeli Air Force officers, Pentagon officials, and Lockheed Martin representatives, something remarkable happened in July 2011. America agreed. The first Israeli F-35s weren't just American aircraft with Israeli pilots. They became something entirely different. The F-35I, a deer, meaning mighty in Hebrew, was born. Israeli defense companies like Elbit Systems began producing specialized electronic warfare equipment. Rafael Advanced Defense Systems developed smaller versions of Python and Derby missiles to fit within the aircraft's internal weapons bay. Israel Military Industries created penetration bombs configured like the American Mark 82 500-pound bomb. By December 2017, 9 Israeli F-35I aircraft became operational with the Israeli Air Force at Nevatim Air Base in the Negev Desert. These weren't just operational aircraft, they were the most advanced combat planes outside of the U.S. Air Force itself. Then came May 22, 2018. Israeli Air Force Commander Major General Amikam Norkin announced that Israel had become the first country in the world to use the F-35 in actual combat operations. The implications were staggering. American taxpayers had funded the development of technology now being used in combat missions they had no control over. Israel received something unprecedented, a test-bed F-35 aircraft delivered in November 2020, stationed at the Flight Test Center at Tel Nof Air Base. It allowed Israel to experiment with modifications and capabilities unavailable to other nations. By 2022, reports emerged of Israel's F-35s being used extensively in combat, from Gaza to Syria, and even as far as 1,700 kilometers away in Yemen in July 2024. Each mission demonstrated capabilities far beyond America's original expectations. The 2010 deal also ensured Israeli defense contractors would receive over $4 billion in contracts to produce F-35 components for other customers. This meant American taxpayers were indirectly funding Israeli aerospace industry growth, placing Israeli firms in competition with American companies for future contracts. Other Middle Eastern nations began expressing interest in acquiring the F-35. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and others watched Israel gain a technological edge and sought access to similar capabilities. But U.S. lawmakers, citing the qualitative military edge policy, which requires Israel to maintain superior military capabilities, opposed such sales. This policy, codified in 2008, complicated U.S. arms sales across the region. When the UAE requested F-35s as part of the Abraham Accords, Congress demanded assurances that such sales wouldn't undermine Israel's QME. The Biden administration eventually abandoned the sale, citing the UAE's military ties with China. Meanwhile, Israel's F-35 program kept expanding. In July 2023, Israel approved the purchase of a third squadron, 25 additional aircraft, in a $3 billion deal signed on June 4, 2024. These jets, to be delivered starting in 2028, would bring Israel's total F-35I fleet to 75 units. Around the same time, Israeli F-35s were reportedly targeted during Iran's missile and drone barrage on April 13, 2024. The Nevatim Air Base came under attack, though the aircraft reportedly remained intact. The incident underscored how central American technology had become to conflicts the U.S. wasn't directly involved in. Israel officials opposed possible F-35 sales to Saudi Arabia, arguing such deals could set a precedent for Turkey's access as well. Israel, having received U.S. technology, was now influencing U.S. policy on sharing that technology with other allies. Following the October 7, 2023 attacks, the U.S. quickly provided Israel with spare parts and weapons capabilities for its F-35 fleet. According to congressional testimony, F-35 weapons capabilities were accelerated and supply chains improved. As of 2024, Israel operates several F-35 squadrons at Nevatim Air Base, the 141st, 116th, and 117th, each capable of intelligence gathering, electronic warfare, and precision strikes. Their effectiveness rivals or even exceeds U.S. capabilities. In November 2024, Israel signed a $5.2 billion deal for 25 advanced F-15IA fighter jets, with an option for 25 more. These aircraft, manufactured by Boeing and expected to be delivered starting in 2031, will complement the F-35 fleet. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called this a historic enhancement of Israel's strategic reach. With stealth-capable F-35s and heavily armed F-15s, Israel now possesses the ability to project air power over long distances with minimal detection or interception. This hasn't gone unnoticed. Various U.S. organizations and some congressional members are questioning the extent of technology transfer and its implications for American strategic interests. Despite this, American military leadership continues to emphasize the importance of the partnership. The State Department affirms that support for Israel's security has been a consistent U.S. policy since President Harry Truman. As of 2025, the U.S. has 751 active foreign military sales cases with Israel valued at $39.2 billion, F-35 aircraft among the top priorities. Looking more broadly, the Israeli F-35 program has set a new model for international military technology sharing. The level of customization granted to Israel is now cited by other nations in their own negotiations. The challenge for American policymakers is balancing these precedents while maintaining strategic advantages and alliances across regions. Conclusion. The F-35 program with Israel highlights the complex realities of modern military partnerships. What started as a straightforward aircraft sale evolved into a deep technological collaboration that reshaped regional power dynamics. American engineering, combined with Israeli innovation and combat experience, produced capabilities that neither country could have developed alone. The F-35I Adir represents more than just advanced military hardware. It symbolizes a new kind of international defense cooperation. As these programs continue, they demonstrate the enduring value of partnerships between democratic nations working together to protect shared values and interests.